Hey guys, I've got a Marincess deck profile for you, and I like this deck a lot, but it's not going to be a deck I bring a tournament too quickly because it's got some pretty strong flaws in it. Mostly the Marincess are weakened by the fact that the deck can stay on the field for a long time and make plays, but they just don't do much for disruptions. They're still cool though, and I've actually heard someone top with it recently, so maybe I'll give it a shot. So here's my build. First, the most important change to Marincess most recently was Marincess Pascalis. And it's a pretty decent Marincess as a level 4 monster, which gives them access to more extra deck plays for rank 4s. But also, what it makes it great is that it can quickly spell summon another Marincess out your hand to go alongside with it. And in the graveyard, can even recycle traps and spells from the grave. So this is a pretty great addition to the lineup. There weren't that many of them you played in the extra deck in the main deck anyway. So having this is definitely a good thing. The one you typically want to summon with Pascalis is Marincess Blue Tang. She was the playmaker before, and she still is a playmaker now. You want to be using her to discard your Marincess Mandarins to the graveyard, if it comes down to that. And you also want special summon alongside your Blue Tang, your Marincess Seahorse. Now, typically, you're going to have started making your Marincess Link 1s before now, using your Marincess Blue Slugs. Typically, your Blue Tang or your Seahorse are good to make her. And you'll typically use the second monster for Marincess Sea Angel. I run a single copy of her, but she's very important for the deck for your combos because her arrow is pretty unique in this deck and you kind of need it. So recycle her when you get a chance. The deck does have ways of doing that. With your Marincess monsters, you're going to be linking up from those into your Marincess Coral Anemones. Very important monster. It can grab Marincess monsters and other water monsters out your graveyard to an arrow it points to, and you're going to want to link further. You can use your anemones and other Marincess monsters to make Crystal Heart, which is an extender link monster that you can actually skip over if you don't think you can go much further than that. Otherwise, you want to go towards your Link 3, Marbled Rock, or even the Link 4, Wonder Heart. If you use Crystal Heart for these effects, along with a field spell, you have basically untargetable, invincible monsters on board with very high attack points. But this deck has another side to it as well. So besides the Marincess strategy, you'll also be running 3 Swap Frogs, because we can make Totally Awesome pretty easily here. Water monsters play well with frogs, so of course I'll be doing that. I run 3 of the Swap Frog just to see it. You can't really search it, so hopefully you'll see it. And if you do see it, it's very easy to get on field, and once it's on field, it keeps coming back. And that's why you run these Running Totems. I discard them with Swap Frog so that I can keep fueling my Dupe Frog. I mean my Totally Awesome plays. I actually run Totally Awesome here at 2. Because Totally Awesome can be made pretty often in this deck. Yes, you can use its own graveyard effect to recycle itself, but you can also ignore that effect to get somebody else, and you still have an extra one in the extra deck to go for. It's pretty cool if you can get 2 out, but you probably won't. That's just how it is. Now, the rest of the monsters are pretty just useful hand traps. 3 Ash, 3 Ghost Rabbit, make Ghost Ogre. Pretty good for making sure your plays go off without a hitch, or softening up an opponent's field for your turn. Now going into spells and traps. The most important spell in this deck, Signet Mining. Yeah, I know it's expensive, but hopefully not so much in the near future. We had to work pretty hard to get our copies of it. I'm glad I'm the only one using it right now, though. You'll be wanting to search out your Blue Tangs with Signet Mining, or whoever else you're missing, but it's typically Blue Tang. I run a single copy of Battle Ocean. Your Sea Angel, one of the level 1 Link monster, the Link 1 monsters, she can search this out from the deck. And you typically don't need more of it. because it's basically her only job is to get this to your field. But once this is out, this is what allows you to have powerful Marincess monsters, because when this is on the field and you've used Crystal Hearts, you've got a Marincess monster that can't be targeted by effects, and when that monster was summoned, you equipped it with 3 of your Marincess Link monsters in the grave, giving it up to like 4,000 or something attack, depending on which of the Link monsters you made under this card's effects. The rest of the spells are just useful ones. Pop Desires, because you want to just get as many cards as possible. The neg you take with it is a little painful, but you can get through it. I only run it at 2 because I don't want to take that neg too often. I run Called by the Grave as protection. I want to be able to make my plays. I run just 2 Cosmic Cyclones. Hopefully I can draw into them and just get something out of my way real quick. My opponent might be a little crafty, and I want to get rid of their stuff. That's it for my spells. Traps. The most important trap in this deck is these Marincess Waves. It's actually a hand trap when you have your Link monsters on deck. It's very powerful. It can protect your monsters, negate your opponent's effects, and the fact it can be used from the hand makes it just a huge surprise to your opponent. Warning, you want to use this early. Do not wait to respond to something with it. If you have it in hand and you're pretty sure you're going to use it this turn, use it like in the standby phase. Just get it out the way. And the rest are just useful ones. Crackdown, a very powerful trap card just to take your opponent's monster. I like it a lot for that reason. And Lost Wind, a good monster effect negator that can come right back from the graveyard. I pretty much play it in a bunch of my decks. This deck likes things coming back to hand from the grave, so that's one more reason why I play Lost Wind, just to get as many cards cycling from the grave back to hand as possible. Speaking of things that help things recycle, Miss Starboy, on top of its water monster attack boosting effect, it can also return water monsters from grave to hand when it goes to grave. I like that effect a lot. In fact, it's probably the main feature of this deck is that they don't stay in the grave. Last 2 cards, Borlo Dragon, just when I need to really push my opponent for game and take something troublesome off the board, that's what it's here for. It's actually done that for me. It's pretty useful. And finally, Abyss Dweller for those troublesome matchups, and it's uniquely useful in a water deck like Marincess, because then it's got a bit more attack points on top of its graveyard effect. And that is it for my Marincess deck profile. I hope you guys liked it, and I'd like to maybe bring it to a locals or a regional one day and see how well I do with it. Tell me what you think in the comments. Pass turn.